You see those footprints?
Yeah.
We have a boot print, and we have someone's pet was allowed to walk in the water. And pets aren't even allowed out here.
I am taking a picture of people standing on someone's shoulders while standing on a bench, very close to a thermal feature.
Someone threw money in here like it's a wishing well.
Oh, right there, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that ridiculous? That's kind of one of those examples, just a total disregard. Yeah.
Jen Mignard and Lisa Cords are on the hunt for the worst tourist faux pas in Yellowstone National Park. They collect them for their popular Facebook page called Yellowstone National Park Invasion of the Idiots, where they also curate viral, boneheaded tourist moments from all over social media.
Oh, God. Oh, God, no.
They were motivated by the dramatic influx of tourists to national parks like Yellowstone. 2021 was the busiest year on record for this chronically overcrowded park. And with numbers continuing to grow, the hordes of tourists are threatening to overrun and endanger the park's wild resources, even when they're not doing something incredibly stupid.
Our main focus is kind of exposing the Tourons, the tourist morons that make really kind of hair-raising decisions that endanger themselves and others.
And how often are you seeing these dumb things happening and Tourons kind of making bad decisions?
It happens daily.
We're seeing a lot more people that are doing things for social media attention. It just seems to be turning into a big amusement park with ill-behaved people.
Everything but the roller coaster.
Well, it could be a roller coaster ride if you pet the right bison.
Yes. oh, right there. Right there.
There.
You caught one. Where's my camera?
So what is he doing?
It is illegal. Oh my God.
It's illegal. He should not be down there.
Hey, you're not supposed to be down there. Get back on the boardwalk.
I can't believe that. Holy buckets.
But meddling tourists aren't Yellowstone's only existential challenge. Climate change-related destruction is causing the most trouble lately, threatening an entire summer of economic opportunity.
So right now we are flying high above Yellowstone National Park. And we are headed to the northern edge of the park, where just a few months ago, a huge flood ripped through the street. And we're gonna go check out just how bad this damage is. Wow, so the road here is completely ripped apart. The connection between the road and the river is gone. It is like an embankment.
In June, a massive flood tore through the park and ripped apart two major Yellowstone entrances. Officials estimate the repairs could take up to 5 years and cost upwards of $1 billion to finish.
Oh my gosh!
These dueling challenges of protecting the natural splendor of the park from outside forces while still providing a safe and accessible environment for visitors have brought Yellowstone, now celebrating its 150th anniversary, to an inflection point.
You know, part of me likes to say that the park needed a break. I mean, there really was a lot of pressure put on the park infrastructure, and while it was awful that it took this flood to do so, the park needs a little time to rebuild.
Dan Bailey works for an advocacy group that partners with national parks to preserve their natural spaces. So here it feels kind of like a fork in the road of like a moment to kind of assess where we go next.
Definitely, and it happens in the 150th anniversary. I mean, I think we're looking at what does the next 150 years look like. Like you said, we are at this fork in the road. We can rebuild to where we were and potentially have the same issues again, or we can take this new path that really takes a look into climate resiliency, and they seem to be taking that path.
Yellowstone is just the start. A 2021 National Park Service study found that more than half of the national parks are vulnerable to a high-impact event caused by climate change. Another study found that temperatures are rising in the parks at 2 times the national average. Among the things Yellowstone is considering as it rebuilds are modifying roadways and entrance points and taking steps to reduce visitor traffic, like requiring reservations or a timed entry system.
Right now, I think the big fear, obviously, is increased flooding and then the impacts of forest fires. They're looking at how they can redirect the road, get it out of the floodplain, move it away from zones that have the potential to flood. And they're really trying to build for a 21st, 22nd century park.
How do you balance the growing tourists that are coming here with the kind of frustrations that they're causing?
I think that conflict will always be there because we do need these tourists, we need this level of tourism to sustain these businesses and sustain these economies. And all we can do is do everything we can to educate them to be the most responsible tourist, to be the best neighbor, to be the best river advocate, to be the best park advocate. At some point, it's on the tourists to step up and also recognize that, this may be their vacation, but this is where I live.
Right now is definitely the best time for wildlife watching. At twilight, be that dawn or dusk.
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna find bison and elk, and so that's where you're gonna find their predators, things like bears and wolves.
Finding that balance is something that Ashia Mills spends a lot of time thinking about. She's been guiding tourists through Yellowstone for more than 25 years, based out of Gardiner, one of the towns where the entrance was recently closed by the flood.
You must see these same guys a lot, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this particular wolf I've been watching since he was born.
Really?
Yeah, it's
What's his name?
well, 1048. We don't name him.
You can't name him something in 1040?
No fluffies.
Oh,
no.
I'm gonna call him Henry.
In order for these places, these special, wild, iconic places to remain relevant, they do need visitation to a certain measure. And our, the sound of silence is incredibly damaging to the local economies. We're down at least 40% or more around the park. Over $80 million of our economy just in Park County is based on wildlife watching and wolf watching.
These wolves make $80 million a year.
Not just wolves, but rafting and horseback riding and tour outfitters, things like that, is about $236 million a year. 3 in 5 jobs in my county are based on tourism. So it really is a tourism-based economy.
For someone like you that makes your money off of the wildlands, what is the struggle of both bringing tourists here and just leaving it to be natural and wild?
I think at the end of the day that the land is the priority. And if the resource itself is suffering, that we have to find more balance in that.
But with more and more people coming in, at what point does it turn into kind of an amusement park?
That is the $1 million question. At what point do we have so much visitation that we're actually damaging the resource? And I think we're at that point.
I'm Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.